You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Are we good? Do we have sound? It looks like we're good now. Okay, we're good. Wow. Hey, we're back. Prepared Mind channel, in case you didn't have any clue. Thank you very much, man. Thank you, Jolene, for coming through the back channels. Communication is key. You know, in a way, that serves as a great example, right? Imagine if shit hit the fan around us and we couldn't hear anything, right? We gather information with our eyes, with our ears, through written communications, electronics. Imagine if you didn't know what was coming because you're deaf. You couldn't hear, right? That's what being a prepper is. It's making sure that you can see, hear, taste, touch, all kinds of stuff that everyone else out there really doesn't. Everyone else, topside, really don't have much of a clue. I mean, they kind of know what prepping is. They know they need to have some food. They've heard always be prepared, the Boy Scout motto, but they don't really live it. And by living it, I don't mean you have to live, breathe, eat, and suck and digest this stuff all day long, right? No, you just need to keep up with it and have basic preparations in place and basic plans. Everything else, I'm afraid, is going to be improvise, adapt, and overcome as we go. Now, as said before, this is Monday Night Live. We're going to go back to Sundays from now on. I want everyone that I can get. Everyone get over to Patreon after this show, of course, and sign up at Patreon. It is only $2 a month, and $2 a month supports this program, the Prepared Mind Network. It goes to information gathering, dissemination. It gets us memberships into other information news sources, and then we gather it all and then we bring it to you Monday through Friday and Sundays for Sunday Night Live. Now, this is your chance, folks, also to step up and ask questions. When we do the zoo, like tonight, if you've got a statement, a name, a topic, a place, anything you want, including a stump to John, tell a lie, tell the truth, and see if I can pick which one. Whatever you want, you hit that super chat button and make a donation, or go through PayPal and make a donation, and many of you have. That helps support this channel, folks. It is the GTFB and SB, and I've been back a long time. I have. I was out at the RMZ in the jungle, living La Vida Loca, the crazy life. And I came back in time for the 2020 election, where, President Trump was campaigning along with Joe Biden. Yeah, remember that? I've been here ever since, waiting for this shit to get nasty. And I really think it is. You guys have supported the efforts ever since then. Ever since I climbed down into the Prepared Mind bunker, got a good supply of spam, tuna fish off to the side. Anyways, you've all done a great job. I want to start with Darcy T, who made a $50 super chat donation. And this is in reference to what Sean Penn is talking about with Ukraine. She says, isn't he the one who went to Louisiana to help the people hit by Hurricane Katrina and then his boat sunk? Yeah, none other than the most famous actor, Sean Penn, who says, I would go help in Ukraine, but I don't know what help I could be. And my response was, you could do the same thing everyone else in Ukraine does. You can stand in the way of the Russian war machine and get shot or killed in order to protect Zelensky and the World Economic Forum's, economic interest that they have there. That's really, really, really what you're doing. Well, we're live tonight, and if you think anyone could benefit from hearing, folks, the prepared message, right? What is it we're talking about? Being prepared. What is happening? It's hit the fan. If you know anyone that could benefit, you hit the share button or you get the address up top, get that internet address and send it to them. We need as many people to hear about what is happening so they can, folks, be fully prepared. Or at least get started, for Pete's sake, right? At least get started, because we have pure stupid going on right now, right? If you're not aware, and you may not be, we're going into, thank you very much, you man, let me fix that. We're going into an incredible economic down cycle. Economic down cycle. And we keep finding out that the masterminds in the world are blowing money like total idiots. Does that sound better, Uman? The world's largest carbon removal facility. Did you know that there was a carbon dioxide removal facility, folks? It was built in Iceland. I didn't know Iceland was downstream from any major carbon dioxide producers, but someone, that's all I got, man. Someone, folks, get this, spent millions and millions and millions, if not billions of dollars in planning and engineering and design and then construction of a carbon dioxide removal system, basically a really big freaking air filter. And it froze, folks. An Arctic blast froze the machinery that runs the world's largest air filter, as if they're going to clean the air for the entire planet. That is the pure stupid we're having to deal with. And it is, folks, it is that bad. Not the carbon dioxide, the stupid is that bad. If they're making decisions like that, what other decisions are they making that affect you? I mean, I ask that question all the time. What are these people doing when I'm not seeing what they're doing and hearing what they're saying? What could it be now? Right? Unbelievable. There is, folks, a senator, a U.S. senator is now favoring sending U.S. troops into Ukraine. They're starting to talk that talk, folks. They're wanting to push that. And I haven't heard one intelligent veteran say, oh, yeah, I would go fight and die in Ukraine for Zelensky and all of those Ukrainian oligarchs over there to make them more money. No, I haven't heard anyone say that. Not one. And why would they, folks? Why would they volunteer themselves to die? Nobody. Well, hey, why take volunteers when they can take people in the service and force them to go? Well, guess what? This U.S. senator is a Democrat. That's right, folks. Surprise. And not only that, he's a Democrat from the state of Delaware. Isn't that just amazing? The same state from where Joe Biden comes from. I'm sure the Delaware Patriot Mac is just loving that shit. Senator Chris Coons out of Delaware, folks, wants to send our troops into Ukraine to fight against Russia. Why, folks? This war could be over in a day. In less than a day, it could be just done. All it would take is Zelensky surrendering. It's unbelievable, folks. It's incredible. Unbelievable, incredible. Hit that super chat button, folks. Make a donation, and I'll read your question, your comment, your statement. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. This is your chance, folks. I can make you famous, or you can be anonymous. But any way you look at it, your questions are super important. I've got all of my topics all lined out here. Everything is set out, but the zoo is where you guys get to come in and really shine. You support the channel, and you've got great perspectives. So we're going to start with Cottage Farm, who checks in. Hey, Cottage Farm, with a $20 super chat donation. Says, JP Morgan financial advisor told me she didn't know what ESG was. I wonder why she lied. Yikes. Oh, yes, ESG. Look it up. What they're doing is they're turning this concept of investing into investing with social awareness, environmental awareness, and fruitcake awareness, right? The company you invest in should be environmentally sound. They should have a small carbon footprint. I am not an ESG fan, by the way, folks, but I know it is here, and these globalist, wacko, left-wing fruitcakes are pushing it. So, yeah, you've got to have a low carbon footprint. You have to be accountable, folks, for your carbon if you're a company. They're pushing this. They're saying shareholders or stockholders care so much about the environment that they won't invest in a company. Get this, they won't invest in a company that doesn't have a good score. What I'm interested in is a company that's making a lot of money. If I'm going to invest, I want them to make a lot of money. That's number one. Now, if you have a small carbon footprint after that, that's fantastic. Yeah, you know, and then social stuff. Oh my God, you need to make sure you've got the appropriate number of minorities and homos and everyone else out there, homosexuals or trans or whatever you got. Got to have a couple of them in the board. You got to sprinkle them in there. It's not a quota, but it's a quota. ESG, folks. So rather than push this notion in corporations that you need to be productive, profitable, that you need to be forward-looking into the future of whatever it is you make, manufacture, or service you offer, these people are about feelings. And I've been listening to it for years as the economy has just slowly kind of ratcheted down. And then we went into SHTF with Cerveza bug, and they're still pushing this garbage. Yeah, look it up if you want, folks. It's almost like tying one hand behind your back and then telling yourself to clap. You know, you're like, what the hell? Nothing to clap on. Unbelievable. Thank you, Cottage Farm. That is an absolutely fantastic donation to start off with here in the super chats. ESG. Wow. You know, the crazy that's going on. I've mentioned before, if someone kicks in the door, jumps down the chute, comes into the bunker, how do I know they're really a policeman? If they're screaming, police, we're here to arrest you, right? How do you know? Well, there was a man in Philadelphia, and he had two people kick in his door, impersonating police, wearing a badge. And it wasn't until they were zip tying his hands that one of them said, we're going to kill you, or don't move, we're going to kill you. At that point, folks, he realized he wasn't being arrested. He was being robbed by people pretending to be police. How are you supposed to know, folks? This is why I won't surrender. This is why I won't allow myself to be arrested, because I don't know in the middle of the night if someone kicks in the door, comes down the ladder. I don't know who they are. There's a good chance they're not on your side. It's just ridiculous. This is the world we live in. Everything is about screwing everyone else over. Everything is about tricking people. You know,
from the street level all the way up to the president of the United States. Everything is about bullshitting and lying to us. It's absolutely incredible, and to have reason on our side, right? You want logic, reason, don't we? I mean, really, common sense, critical thinking. We want those things, right? You want to be philosophically sound and educationally grounded and intelligently inspired. Well, we've been putting up with cerveza-bug stupidity for over 2 years now. Masks, mandates, lockdowns, and Jim Jones juice. Well, we're starting to get more pushback on our side and, to help us. A federal judge, folks, has declared that the Joe Biden presidential administration, that the mask mandate for planes and trains is unlawful. That means unconstitutional. They can't do it. In airports, on airplanes, folks, no more masks. Federal judges ruled. Now, let's see, what comes after the federal judge? I guess they're going to have to go to the appellate court and then the Supreme Court on this. But right after that decision came down, Biden came out and the administration said they're very disappointed that a judge wouldn't see things their way. And this is what kills me. We've seen, folks, how absolutely corrupt and old, doddering, just beyond salvageable Joe Biden is. I mean, there comes a point when you hang it up, right? Should Joe Montana in his 60s be playing professional football? No, he's too old. There's an age limit. There's a time when you're not capable of doing the job. And Joe Biden's there, right? But what are we seeing, folks? We're seeing them pretend they know what's best while they lie to us. Unbelievable. So good news there. Good news. If you want to travel, you don't have to wear that mask. Cottage Farm is back with another super chat donation. Thank you again, Cottage Farm. $20 more. And she says, in October 2020, she told not to worry. Biden would be elected. She's still employed, but the private banker is gone. I assume she took the Jim Jones juice and the private banker did not. Wow. Interesting when someone says, don't worry, Biden's going to be elected. That would cause me to worry more. We're seeing a lot of trouble, folks, coming out of this. A lot of trouble that we're not being told about. I keep finding articles. It's incredible. Thank you again, Cottage Farm, for awesome. That goes into the get the fuck back and stay back bin. And we need all the help we can get, folks, because we're in big trouble. But yeah, certainly, folks, taking the Jim Jones juice. I don't know if it just rots the brain or if I don't know what. What are the limits of this stuff? Another super athlete, folks, a 27-year-old Italian swimmer. Okay. Imagine swimming. It's full body, arms, legs, paddling, holding your breath, breathing out, coordination, training. This super athlete, this is not the one who's the trans person in college. This is an Italian swimmer, and she died, folks, of a massive heart attack. I'm going to take a wild guess that she is fully juicinated. Thank you very much, you man. He says, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. That's corporate governance, though. They're supposed to be making these decisions on the behalf of the shareholders. Well, the shareholders want profits, but I guess they're telling us that's not important to us anymore. Additionally, corporations are now expected to self-boycott. That's right, like Russia. You're supposed to self-boycott Russian goods. If they're still coming across the border, you're supposed to boycott them on your own. You don't need the government to tell you what to boycott. ESG will tell you if a country's bad or that person's a polluter, right? We're supposed to be, governing ourselves that way. It certainly doesn't feel like self-governance. It feels more like, it really feels more like the social police are here, folks. Who are the social police? It's not me and you. I don't police anybody. You know who it is? Truly, folks, the social police is Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, and any other social media company. And that includes, folks, mainstream media. They will tell you what to do all day long. Unbelievable. They think that's their job. Literally, that's their job. Pretty crazy. Unbelievable, folks. So we're going to censor them and we're going to boycott them. Well, guess what? They're going to do the same thing to us. Chinese, folks, the Chinese oil. They have big oil in China, folks. They have to import all their oil, their energy. So the Chinese have decided to exit U.S., Canada, and the United Kingdom over fears of Western sanctions. That's right. You want to self-sanction China? You want to self-sanction Russia? Well, they've already done it, folks. They're doing it to us. Michael Every of Rabobank summarized it in just a few words, right? Russia's, or rather China's giant oil company, the CNOOC, is leaving Western oil, right? Now, there's some interesting things here, right? They fear sanctions. So does China know things that are going to happen that are going to cause it to be subject to sanctions? And they can't just leave, right? US, Canada, and the UK unless they've already replaced that oil. China can't exist without oil, gas, uranium, and coal. Well, those are the 4 items that Russia has that the rest of the world is saying they don't want. So, yeah, unbelievable, folks, what is happening. I mean, I don't think I could have ever predicted this. Companies boycotting and sanctioning other countries, and the people expected to obey those companies. We're supposed to be afraid of social media, but it's supposed to be our friend, right? This is the worst. This is corporate bullying. Remember when we were told bullying is wrong and you shouldn't bully gays and you shouldn't fat shame? All of these things, right? It's bad. And then they turn around and go, well, now that they have power and authority, they're going to tell us what to do, and they're going to shame us, and they're going to put us down, and they're going to punish us. They're going to go even further. No one ever punished, folks, those people, and took away their ability to shop or travel or speak freely. No one ever told them they couldn't, but they're doing it to us, folks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We are now over 300 people live on this Monday Night Live. Welcome to the show as we increase. If you're new and you're on the YouTube side, hit subscribe. Right? If you're a longtime listener, consider going to patreon.com and signing up there. It's 7 cents a day to sponsor the Prepared Mind channel. All this information we go over on a daily basis, talking about what is happening so you can see what's coming. And I'll tell you what. Right? There are going to be massive food shortages coming. Massive food shortages. At this point, folks, the bloom is off the rose. They're telling us exactly what's going on, and it is seriously coming. Right? Just today, railroad companies have notified the world we are not going to deliver as much fertilizer. They're going to cap, they're going to limit how much fertilizer they put on their trains. All that's going to do is increase the cost of food and reduce the amount of food that's produced. There it is. They're telling us, folks, they're telegraphing it. Countries around the world right now are starting to lock their borders down. I think Hungary was the first. Other countries are doing the same. They're basically telling everyone, We're not going to export any of our food. We're producing food and we're stockpiling it. This is not, it's not a lie. It's not hyperbole. It's not bullshit. It's really, really happening. And Heidi checks in with a $10 super chat donation via PayPal. And she says, keep on, keep it on, Semper Fi. Thank you, Heidi. And you keep on as well up there in the Great White North. Pretty crazy stuff. Speaking of the Great White North in America, Ilhan Omar saw someone in a video playing a guitar on a plane for Easter, and she criticized it. This coming from the woman who married her brother and paid him millions of dollars of her campaign money while she supports terrorism and the destruction of our allies. Oh, yeah, that's right. She's a Democrat. Surprise. Surprise. I tell you, Cottage Farm is back again. Oh, no. Oh, you want to talk Elon Musk, Cottage Farm? Let's talk Elon Musk. All right. She says, Elon Musk, crypto world, electric vehicle, or Neuralink. He has opened up Pandora's box, eyes wide open. I'm in Twitter jail for 7 days. God is speaking. Get busy doing what I want. Beck had this message yesterday. Look out. Yeah. Elon Musk is really, folks, he's stepping into the gap. He's stepping into the gap. Alex Jones has been sued by the parents of Sandy Hook. And so he's filing bankruptcy. He's being silenced. Right, President Trump, he's kicked off of Twitter because of mean tweets. He was killing the world with his mean tweets. Well, Elon Musk is not doing mean tweets, but he's promising that he will allow mean tweets, not just from Democrats, but from everyone. And they don't like that. So yeah, Elon Musk, he did Dogecoin. Elon Musk has Tesla cars. Elon Musk has his SpaceX program. He's doing the Neuralink. I think he's looking into nano nuclear reactors for powering very small facilities. He's an interesting fellow, and he has kind of opened up Pandora's box when it comes to Twitter. This fight, this social media fight, incredible. To me, it is absolutely incredible what he's doing. He is making a lot of people very upset. And what I have to say is, God bless him. Let's hope he does some good with this. I don't know what his real mission is because I just don't know Elon. But don't you think that the ability to speak is paramount? Right? I've heard Elon Musk speak. I don't have to listen to him. If I don't want to hear what he has to say or I don't like the subject matter, I just turn it off. But why would I say I don't think he should speak? We must silence him, and we must silence Alex Jones. Folks, I really haven't listened to Alex Jones in years and years and years. Not because he's been silenced, but because I don't just care. I just don't need to listen to him. I've heard enough from him. He's a very interesting personality. He's made a lot of great predictions. He's watched shit hitting the fan coming for decades. He's been around. But you don't have to watch them the same way no one has to watch us here. We've got our satire, our discussion. No one has to watch us, though. But they don't want people to have the opportunity. And I think that's what fears them is people do want to hear what Elon Musk has to say. People do want to hear what President Trump has to tweet. People do want to hear what Alex Jones wants to talk about. And I say more power to them. They aren't hurting anybody. They're not calling for insurrection. That's right. No one's calling for insurrection. It's called free speech, though. In the arena of ideas, the best ideas win. And they're afraid of that. Now, see, when you've got ideas and no one wants to hear them and they're really bad, you fear the competition and you want them silenced. That kind of sounds like our good buddies on the left, does it not? And I'm sorry you're in Twitter jail. I really am, Cottage Farm. Twitter jail must really suck. I know that I think we've got a Twitter account. Jolene, we got a Twitter account? But, I'm not a huge tweeter. I retweet every now and then. I do stuff. But for the most part, I find it to be an offensive social media system because you can retweet someone else's tweet and you get in trouble for what they tweeted. You just connected to it. Isn't that crazy? Well, that's how it works, folks. Kind of like Chinese lockdowns. They're rather obnoxious and seemingly pointless. Yeah, China, folks, is still locking down. Their lockdowns are expanding. And it's raising a lot of questions for people about Beijing, their motivation. Thank you very much there, Jolene. There's our Twitter account. Beijing, what's its motivation for shutting down the world, shutting down everything? Well, there's 3 scenarios that have been floated a lot over this, folks. This potential reason that China has a zero cerveza bug program. They want zero, meaning they demand to have zero, absolutely no cerveza bug before they reopen. That's their program. So, number 1, this is number 1 scenario. The Chinese Communist Party is trying to usurp more power. They're trying to hurt the world with it, right? Or reason number 2, there may be something about cerveza bug that China knows and the rest of the world still doesn't know. And then number 3, folks, another scenario is China is looking for an excuse to slow its production, to retard its delivery of goods in order to put pressure on the United States and Europe. At the very same time, folks, right, that we're dealing with our own problems because they want to escalate things and make it harder on us. And at the same time, they're trying to wean themselves off of us. They don't need us. They can support themselves and work with allies that they like perhaps Russia and India, and also understanding that they've got some other designs in mind. And let's do this, right? Number 3 smells like it's the most credible, right? China's expanding its lockdowns. It's telling its own people, hey, don't worry about America. It's going to quit doing business with Britain and Canada and the United States. Sounds suspicious, right? Now, let's take some other things into consideration, folks. China, which produces just an ungodly amount of material and products for America, it has allied itself with Russia militarily in regards to energy, meaning gas, coal, nuclear, oil. It has monetary arrangements. It has economic compacts with Russia and other countries. And it has been threatening Taiwan more and more, running drills, flying over Taiwan. We've seen Taiwan absolutely shut down its power because of cyber attacks. If China does, folks, decide to invade Taiwan, similarly how Russia has invaded Ukraine, that the United States, Canada, Europe, England, etc., would all boycott China, right? We would ESG the China. We would sanction them. We would cut them out of the banking system. We would do all these things trying to punish China. But what has China been doing, folks? It's been de-dollarizing, right? You and I, we want dollars. We want to get a paycheck. We want to get paid, and we need to pay our bills. We need to put some Spam in the pantry. We got to pay our electricity bill. We're doing all those things. China's getting rid of their dollars. Absolutely getting rid of their dollars. They're selling their bonds. They're creating political, military, economic, and monetary alliances. There's this thing called the BRICS nations. And it's an alliance, if we want to use that very sanitized sounding term. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Yeah, folks. And there's other countries that would probably be willing to join them, like Iran, North Korea. How many others? Oh, that's right. Saudi Arabia. has been working very closely, in other Arab states, Middle Eastern states. I don't know if I call them the Arabian states, if that's racist. How about African nations? Yes, plenty of them as well. Right? China's been doing business with Central and South American nations, Panama, Venezuela. China doesn't have to have the United States. Would they, do you think, in order to destroy America? They get us addicted to their junk, their garbage, their goods. They could just cut us off, right? And they would starve themselves. They would hurt themselves economically in order to hurt us even worse. It appears that's what they're doing. They're locking their own people down. Because of cerveza bug, something that they said they've beaten, they defeated, it wasn't that big a deal. They're partying like it's 1999 while the rest of the world is locked down during our cerveza bug lockdowns. I like to think of it as pretty much incredible. It's incredible, and the possibilities are very credible that China is withdrawing from the world markets. I can't guarantee that, but I'll tell you what, the more time goes by and the more actions I see taken by the Chinese, it appears that's precisely what they're doing. If you think ships parked off the coast of California, Port of LA, Oakland, Portland, SeaTac, Seattle, Tacoma, there is a complete it's clogged, folks, like a drain. The ports of Shanghai with boats sitting there, ships not being loaded. They're just parked. They're camped. Nothing to do. They're completely killing the supply chain. How is that going to affect us? Well, I was, Uman the other day went to go buy a specific oil for a machine. And they didn't have containers. Oil comes in little plastic containers, quarts and gallons. They could get it in bulk, but they don't have the little containers. Well, those containers are made, folks. They're made as cheaply as possible by the cheapest labor, cheapest product, everything. Sounds like China, right? You bet. So packaging, all materials, folks, from the product you buy to what it comes wrapped in, comes from China. Unbelievable. We're sitting here right now, folks. It is unbelievable what's happening. Are you prepared? Right? It's such a simple thing. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. These are things that you need anyways in life. If you buy food now, it's an investment because food prices are just going up, 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 and off the charts. Food prices will continue to go up. So anything you buy today is going to be basically in your pantry at a discount compared to what it's going to cost months from now. What if food doubles? That means your investment went up 100%. Right? That's what the value, right? A can of beans goes from $1 to $2. You just saved $1, right? It went up 100%, and you, right, have a great investment. You can turn around and sell that can for $2. You just made an extra $1. Right? And if you, boy, I tell you, I don't know if that's a good idea, folks, selling your cans of beans. Right? If you had a room full from floor to ceiling full of canned goods and you were selling them, right? You probably make a lot of friends and a lot of enemies. Anyways, it's an incredible topic, being prepared. That's why we have the preparedmind.club. Right? Get in the club, get prepared. There is no club membership fee. You just go there to the club and start looking for what you need because it's going to get worse. We got Bonnie Blue 2-way checking in with a $19.99 super chat donation. Says just a down payment towards the light bill. Thank you very much, Bonnie Blue. I appreciate that. Speaking of power, Europe right now, they are now and have been in an energy crisis of epic proportion. This is before Russia, folks. That's the killer thing. It was happening before Russia. The cost of power there, the availability of power there. There was a big concern that Europe would not make it through the winter without major rolling blackouts and power losses. Germany's answer to the problem, their solution, wear more sweaters. That's right, folks. That's the German know-how, the German engineering, the German mind. Nope. They don't want to use that. They'll just say, put on more sweaters. You know, they shut down their nuclear plants, which are actually essentially carbon-free compared to anything else because of the danger. They're political decisions because they aren't looking into, and I've spent a great deal of time looking into nuclear energy the last couple of years. And the safeties they put in place, it's incredibly safe. They can shut down. They don't need power. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then the new stuff coming out, absolutely incredible. But for the time being, I mean, to build nuclear power plants takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to go from planning to completion. But they look at Russia and go, we don't want your oil, your gas. We don't want your coal or your uranium. What is Europe going to run on, folks? Here in America, we're having similar problems, similar issues. Right? Rolling blackouts in California all the time. It's just going to get worse. We had that huge freeze hit Texas, and Texas has a huge amount of wind and solar, which is supposed to be supplemental, but rather they tried using it for base load, to give them a base to work on, and it froze up a couple of years ago. Energy is incredible. Energy is critical. It's important. It keeps us alive at this stage. And they're really screwing with it, folks. They're putting the screws to us. The cost of energy is going through the roof. You've been to a gas station lately, you know what I'm talking about. But it takes fuel, diesel fuel, gasoline, all manner of tools and equipment to mine coal even, and to transport coal by truck and by train, rail car, barges, to get that coal to where it is to produce power. Well, they want to get rid of coal because it's dirty, right? So what's left? Natural gas. Natural gas, folks, is half as dirty as coal. If dirty is the nastiest thing on the planet, right? Well, it's only half as nasty, and that makes it good. Nope. There's hydroelectric. There's only so much water, so many rivers, and basically that's been covered. There's not enough hydroelectric potential out there to solve the energy crisis. Expect, folks, as it hits the fan with food, our monetary and financial systems, our government, legal systems, expect energy problems to get worse also. My recommendation as a prepper, seriously, folks, my recommendation as a prepper, go to thepreparedmind.club and buy a solar panel system and buy the battery unit that stores the energy, and then you can plug into it as needed. In an emergency, folks, you will feel so much better having that power. Literally, having your own power supply, and you won't be able to run a whole house or anything like that, but you'll be able to charge your electronics, communications gear. You'll probably have enough power to keep a micro refrigerator going, the same way I did at the RMZ. I had a little 50-quart refrigerator that plugged into my solar system, folks, that ran off of, you guessed it, a very large diesel battery. Right? Just a large battery that you can buy at Walmart was enough to keep everything going. So yeah, and these the solar panels that we sell, very reliable, industrial. They work fantastic. I never had any problems, except I fried my system once because it was not matched. So get a system made by one company, get the panels, get the battery, get everything, and you're good. We're going to have power problems. We're going to have food problems. We're going to have money problems. We're going to have all manner of SHTF. I mean, seriously. What else have we got? Well, there's going to be the second global COVID summit. It's been announced, folks. And the main goal is going to get everyone on the planet Jim Jones juicinated. Oh, there it is. We got Jackery Solar. That is the email address to get you through the Prepared Mind the best deal we can possibly get. Now, Jolene does that with everything we can, folks. She does everything she can to get us the best deals. Jackery Solar, Harvest Right, food preparation, food storage. You want to freeze dry your own food, jerkify food, right? Whatever we can to get prepared and then be able to continue to take care of yourself. The same way we looked at the Sprouts deal. So you can grow a salad for yourself, for your family every day off of sprout seeds. You can grow a salad a day, folks. It takes 4 days. So you just got to rotate it every day, fresh salad. How hard is that? It's actually not hard, right? We figured this stuff out with you and for you, and it's really nice. But they're just going to continue to make life extremely difficult for us. There's the Harvest Right home freeze dryer system. Thank you again, Jolene. She is all over it. Yeah, you want to prepare your food, freeze dry your food, long-term storage, your own produce that you grow or buy at the store. That's the way to do it. You want power, you get your own power system as a reserve, right? For emergencies. Food doesn't get delivered for a week, 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever the number is, you've got your own supply of food. You're a prepper, right? You've got problems with riots, protests. You're going to need your own self-protection. And that's just the way this is going to go, folks. Meanwhile, yeah, they want the second global COVID summit, and their goal is to make sure everyone on the planet, everywhere, is fully juicinated. Not going to happen. Not going to happen, folks. But that doesn't mean they won't stop pushing for it. They won't stop talking about it. That's part of their priority, folks. Absolutely part of their priority. We got Robert B checking in with a $10 super chat PayPal donation. Thank you, Robert. I don't see a question here, so I'm going to just assume that you made a donation because I don't know what you're thinking about. But I appreciate it very much. Your support matters, Robert. Thank you. And thank you to everyone else. It happens all the time. $1, $5, $10. Thank you so much, everybody. Your PayPal donations, your CashApp donations matter. It matters, folks. It really does keep the lights on. Now I've got the big ass solar panel. In the event the power goes off, drag that out, aim it at the sun, charge up the battery. Right here, under the prepared desk, is my mini refrigerator. You know, I brought it back from the RMZ on second trip. And, it's basically like a suitcase. And it works, folks. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. We're coming up on 1 hour. On the Zoo, whether it's Sunday Night Live or Monday, we love to go 2 hours. This is your show, though, folks. It's your show. You get to pick the topics. You get to pick the people, the places, the things we discuss. If you want, make a super chat donation, ask a question, make a statement, or just say a word like Russia or Putin or say fertilizer. It doesn't matter what you say, folks. There is an SHTF prepper connection to it. Right. And it's looking more and more like everything you and I have talked about, everything we prepared for is going to be absolutely needed. Right. We have Berkey water filters. We've sold Alexa Pure water filters. You go to the preparedmind.club. You go to My Patriot Supply. Hey, why do you need that? Because the water we're getting out of our taps is full of lead, mercury, garbage, plastics, junk, who knows what pharmaceutical derivatives they just dump in the water system or already in the groundwater. Right? So I don't drink anything, folks, unless it goes through a Berkey or an Alexa Pure. Period. You can't trust these people. Unbelievable. Yep. Here it is. Here's the story. Union Pacific Rail Lines is now restricting shipments of nitrogen-based fertilizer during the spring planting season when it's needed the most. It's intentional, folks. It's deliberate. There are incredible efforts, folks, to cause inflation and suffering on us. There it is right there. There's the Berkey Filters link. Jolene is all over it. I want everyone prepared. I mean, the fucking playtime is over. And I think that was the title of the video right earlier. Playtime is over. It's absolutely over. Look what they're doing. They're intentionally limiting and restricting fertilizer that goes to farms. That means food's going to be less plentiful and more expensive. Other countries, we're going to see, folks, food riots. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have any here in America. Even in America, folks, the land of the free, home of the brave, right? Plenty, the land of plenty. We're going to have problems here. Unbelievable what is going on. And who's it? Who are you going to blame? Right? Well, we know that it's Biden, and we know it's the Democrats. We know it's Washington, D.C. We know it's the bureaucracy. We know it's the courts, but we can't do anything to fix it. The only thing you and I can do, the only thing we can do is get prepared. Now, we can call them, make phone calls, talk to our friends and neighbors. That actually has a positive benefit. I think it does. It has a positive benefit, but that is not going to solve our problems, right? Well, I really wish it would. I wish that free speech would solve it. But we're going to have to go through harder times, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, eventually things will get solved. Eventually things will get solved, but for now, folks, right, we're going to have a lot of conflict. Now, when I talk about China, I have to stop my thoughts on China and go to this super chat donation. Toon Tamasha looks like is doing a check 100 check super chat donation. I don't think we've ever had a Czech or Czechoslovakian Czech Republic donation before. He says the world has 90-day food supply max. Energy and crops issue are coming. First Europe, then the United States. Digital QR rations, temporary 12 to 72 hour blackouts, double the current prices of inflation, global pandemic treaty. I tell you what, Toon, you just said a whole lot of stuff that we're all thinking about. Global pandemic treaty. That's kind of what I was talking about with this forum. Oh, another Cerveza Bug forum, huh? Well, they do know that treaties are a great way to get one country to accept the rules of another. With this World Economic Forum, major corporation ESG push to tell everyone what to do. What a great way to do it, right? Treaties, you bet. They're going to push for this, folks. They don't want to let it go. They don't want to let Cerveza Bug go. You and I, no problem, but they get power from it. They don't want to let it go. Prices, inflation, it's you're talking about food here. Crop issues, but it's not just food inflation. It's not just fuel inflation. It's going to be everything inflation. Shoes, can you make your own shoes? Or do you, as a prepper, have good quality spare shoes? Folks, whether they're sneakers or combat boots, spare shoes for you, your children. And if your kids are growing, how are you going to get them in the next pair of shoes, right? The next size up, if they're not available because of a global shutdown of trade. Where do our shoes come from? Let's see, the countries that have the lowest wage, right? China, maybe India, maybe Sri Lanka, maybe Indonesia. Wherever there's cheap labor, that's where they make the shoes. Who's going to ship them, right? If the ships are all, in Shanghai port with their anchors dropped and their fuel tanks empty, they're not going anywhere. Right? This is why we need to have this ready now. Literally, we need to be ready now for what's coming. What else does Toon talk about? Energy and crop issues. Yeah, energy, you bet. Electricity, the prices are going to go up. I had a friend telling me, they're like, hey, I'm looking at my energy consumption. My kilowatt hours are actually going down. But the bill has doubled. It's like, well, what's causing that? What is this power company thinking? Looks like they made an error, but still, are they just getting people used to the idea? Yeah, they are actually. They're trying to get people used to the idea that you're not going to have power and that power is going to be more expensive. Food's going to be more expensive. Gasoline's going to be more expensive. And there's going to be supply line issues. Folks, there's still people out there who have had their cars in a mechanic sitting there for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, 4 months because they don't have parts. That's the world we live in. Thanks, Joe Biden. Thanks, Klaus Schmidt. Thanks, Bill Gates. Thanks, George Soros. Thank you for all you guys do. And thank you, Toon, for the awesome super chat donation. First time we got a donation out of the Czech Republic. All righty. We get donations from around the world, folks. We have the Netherlands. We got Remy over there. We've got Australia. We've got Mexico, South America, Argentina. We've gotten, I think in the past, a couple years ago, we got some Russian rubles even. And then I've had people contact me out of China. They're Americans, but they're in China. Crazy stuff. And this is DDG with a super chat donation. Hey, DD, looking good. Hope everything is well with you and that you are fully prepared. She does a $10 super chat donation and says, Dee Dee has a Berkey. She is beautiful. Miss Berkey Delight. Thanks, John. I tell you what, folks, when you drink some tap water, if you're used to it, you're like, it's water, right? You get a Berkey and you run your water through that and you drink it. It tastes like nothing, which is what water is supposed to taste like. It's not supposed to taste like plastic or a metal pipe. It's not supposed to taste like dirt or the river. It's supposed to taste like water, which is basically nothing. Clean, pure water. And I love the Berkey that I get water out of. I love the Alexa Pure that I get water out of. Love them both, right? And if you've got a bug out or if you're trying to get back during an emergency situation, you're going to need a life straw. Whatever manufacturer makes it, it's just basically a straw with a filter built in. You can filter your own water that way. And I've proven that. I did that video back when I was in California. Was in the middle of the mountains, found a stagnant, fetid pool of water that was spring fed and had, cow tracks leading to it, and drank that water. No problems with health, no Giardia, no E. coli, nothing. Right? It was warm, wasn't necessarily refreshing, but I put it to the test, folks, and it worked. No problems. These systems work, and they work very well. Thank you, Dee Dee, for the awesome super chat donation. Hope everything continues to go well for you. Woo! Unbelievable. Well, in China, folks, the people there aren't happy with what their government is doing. They're just not. I mean, really, why should they? The government's doing what it's doing because they have an agenda. The people of China, folks, are just like you and me. Just like the people of Russia. They're just trying to make it through the day. They're trying to make it through the day, right? Feed their kids, their family, keep a roof over their head, or rather a bunker in this case. That's what they're trying to do. The people of China, folks, are clashing with the police now over their neighborhood quarantine centers, right? Everyone seems to be playing a role in this. China's playing its role. Russia's playing its role. Europe's playing its role. There's good guys. There's bad guys. There's some guys we don't know what the heck they're doing. But always, folks, it comes down to you and me. We're on our own. Literally on our own. There's no one on your side but you, folks. I mean, in a very literal sense, right? You're on your own. Now, the cool part is if you belong to a prepper group, this is where partnering with neighbors and family and like-minded people pays off, because someone may have an excellent supply of water water filtration equipment. Someone else, right, may have the place to store all the food that's needed to keep everyone well fed through an emergency situation. You may have another member that is an excellent self-defense expert. Let's use the word expert, right? Everyone has something they're really good at. It's hard to be really good at everything. So I do recommend putting together a prepper group. It can be friends, family, can be your community. But understand there's bad people out there as well. You know, hard times make for strange allies that show up in your life. It's going to get crazy. Yeah, China folks, they're having problems. You know, they're having to rely on each other. It's not great. It is very, very difficult. Now, to finish up with Cerveza Bug, and good golly, we're almost to 500 people live on a Monday night, folks. A Monday night after Easter, and I really hope everyone had a great Easter, by the way. Easter it's just like the last holiday before it's showtime and go time. Cheers to everyone. Woo! Now, Biden's Cerveza Bug czar, Ashish Jha. I'm not making fun of his name. I think that's how it's pronounced. Ashish Jha. He says, quote, "The pandemic is not over." Well, if that's the case, then we all need to have the ability to self-medicate ourselves, right? What if there's an emergency and you can't get fuel and you can't drive to see a doctor or drive to a pharmacy or drive anywhere? You need to have medications ahead of time. And if the pandemic is not over, that means it's going to come and get us. You need preventatives, prophylactic, right? You need treatments. If there's a problem, folks, and the hospitals are full, if it's not over and it comes back, do you want to go to the hospital and trust them? Or do you think you should be prepping for yourself for emergency? Right? Now, if the hospital is overflow with Cerveza Bug patients, are they going to have time to deal with you for getting a serious infection? Or are they going to just kind of poo-poo and get you out of there? Hey, we don't have time for you. You need your own antibiotics. You need your own first aid kits. You need your own Cerveza Bug treatments, right? And if your horse gets, worms, you need to deworm that horse with horse dewormer. But seriously, on the Prepared Mind channel, the preparedmind.club, we have the ability to talk to real doctors and get real medications right there and get them ahead of time. Get them in preparation for what is coming. If we're going to have shortages of food, shortages of fuel, shortages and shutdowns in electricity, what do you think is going to happen to medicine? Look at China. How much of our medicines are being manufactured in China, folks? I don't know exactly, but I bet it's a lot. I bet it's an awful lot of our medications come from China. Whether or not they do, I want to make sure I've got my supply of them now. Once again, folks, the preparedmind.club, you can get doctors and you can get medications. You're on your own. Start thinking like that. This is how I think, folks. Literally, I think, okay, in the event I have any need, food, water, shelter, whatever I need, can I rely on myself? The answer is yes, 100%. Self-defense, you freaking bet you can. I can, right? Food, of course. Water, clothing, whatever I need, I have it. I am prepared. Now, it's not an emergency. Can I go to the store and get what I need? You betcha. So I'll keep all my preps ready. They're right here, folks. They're right out in front of me. There's some behind me, but they're right here. I don't fear what's coming. But these people, folks, in government, they want you to be afraid, right? Because Ashish Jha, right? Take him at his word, right? The pandemic's not over. Dr. Doom, the booster rooster, he won't go away either, will he? No, they won't. They're not going to go away, folks. The government lies, folks. We're going to switch gears a little bit. I want to head in this direction. Things are so bad now in Washington, D.C. I don't even want to say our international relations are politicized. I want to say our international diplomacy efforts, our international interactions are now privatized. I used to think that privatizing everything would be a great idea, except I realized with some experience, a little bit of study, that privatizing government function turns it into someone else's profit and agenda. Privatizing our international diplomacy means putting our nation's interests aside and making our nation's interests that of the private sector that wants to control them. The US government right now, the Biden administration, cannot even agree with itself. Okay. Joe Biden is standing up and screaming, practically, folks, that Russia, at the behest of Putin, is committing genocide. It's antagonizing the Russians, and it's going to make the conflict worse. So Biden and the globalists, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, George Soros, those types, they're so far off base, folks. They're so wrong, and they're so clearly pushing their Great Reset agenda, their economic program, that they have caused Joe Biden and the U.S. government to lose credibility because he is making statements that benefit the privatized system, right? And even amongst the already radical, the already globalist-minded Democrats and their bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., they can't agree. Right? NBC News, folks, not the Prepared Mind. NBC News reported, and they cited senior government officials in the intel community that President Biden's accusation of genocide over Moscow, right, has raised concerns among officials, right, in government, right? They're discrediting themselves. He's pushing for a war so hard that he is absolutely stepping aside, and he has no credible proof or evidence. And the intelligence community is saying, we can't agree with you, man. Quote, not what we are seeing. The genocide is not what they're seeing. Now, here's what the U.S. intelligence official said. Genocide includes a goal of destroying an ethnic group or nation, and so far, that is not what we are seeing. Right? Now, folks, we, as patriots, have the right and duty to question Biden and D.C. and to oppose their radical lies. This is where we're at now, folks. You can support free speech or you can be destroyed slowly by censorship. Your support of this channel here, I'm going to keep saying what I'm saying, folks. It's satire, it's humor, right? But I will satirically and humorously discuss everything that's out there as long as I can, folks, until they silence me, and they can't, because I'm allowed to be satirical, I suppose. Your super chat donations keep us on the air and keep us going. I can be here doing this, or I could be out pounding nails. I'd rather be right here with you guys, saying what needs to be said and getting everyone prepared. And understanding, folks, the government is now arguing with itself over what is happening. And it's not our government arguing with England. It's not our government arguing with Italy. It's our government arguing with itself. And that Biden is carrying the water for the World Economic Forum, who wants war. They want to get back into Ukraine. They've been kicked out now by Putin and Russia. Right? They won't go back in there, folks, not until, right? Not until the U.S. wins, and the U.S. doesn't look like it's going to win. Let me say that again. The United States and NATO do not look like they're going to win this issue in Ukraine. Zelensky is going to have to be defeated and kicked out, or he's going to have to switch sides. Something's going to happen, but it's not going to be a U.S. win. And that is exactly why, folks, it's exactly why, right, this top Democrat senator wants to send in U.S. troops. They want a ground war. That's how much they want this. That's how much they're being controlled by the private sector. Right? And Russia isn't going to give it up because they know what's at stake. What is at stake is their national security. And it's an existential crisis for Russia if the United States and NATO move military in and continue what they were doing in Ukraine. Right? Russia is now intensifying its operations in Donbass. Putin sees that as a key victory in early May to take Donbass completely. They're now bombing and sending cruise missiles into western Ukraine. They're destroying supply lines of Western, meaning European and American equipment and food and military gear, munitions, explosives. They're taking it out as they go. This is a war, folks. You know, it's an absolute war. And they're going to keep lying about us and lying to us and lying and claiming they're lying for us in our favor. It's just not true. Wow. Incredible, folks. They will lie right to our faces. Now, in France, they have not a midterm election, but they have a presidential election. And Emmanuel Macron, the French president, the guy who said that he wants to piss off French patriots. That's right. He wants to piss them off. Well, now he's got an election to face. And he can't, he doesn't want to give up his power. And so Marine Le Pen is doing very well. She is basically a French Republican. And so a week before the French election, the European Union globalists are accusing Marine Le Pen and her father of embezzling $650,000. Can you believe it, folks? They're embezzling $650,000. Now, that's the accusation, and that's supposed to be enough for the French people to go, we don't want Marine Le Pen now because she and her father have been accused by a bunch of globalist European Union people, right? Hey, maybe these European Union guys need to look and see what Hunter Biden has done. I mean, Marine Le Pen, she doesn't seem like if she's only managed to steal $650,000, she's a rank amateur. I guess Macron has probably stolen at least 10 times that. He's far more qualified to be the president of France. How about Hunter Biden, right? Billions of dollars in deals he's done. Now that's embezzlement worth promoting and voting for. Right? Unbelievable, folks. Globalists, globalist corporations, they bribe politicians. They call it campaign contributions. Right? So they contribute money to candidates, and those candidates are supposed to obey them from that point on. So I guess maybe they donated money to Marine Le Pen, $650,000, and since she didn't do what they wanted, they're going to accuse her of embezzling. Who knows what the hell is going on over there, folks? But there's a huge struggle on. There's going to be one this fall in the United States of America, a huge struggle in America for controlling our own government. You know, who controls our government? Corporations or us? Well, there's a former stripper running for Congress, folks. You bet there's a former stripper, but this one, well, yeah, she's a Democrat. Surprise! And, she's an incredible person, right? She got fired as a sports coach. She got knocked up, then got an abortion, claiming she wants a better life for her child, so she got an abortion. Claims that sex work as a stripper is liberating and empowering, but also says that patrons are misogynists. They need their money, but they hate them for it. I mean, strippers are rewarded financially for exploiting themselves, aka empowering, right? She blames the climate crisis for her bad life decisions. And so she is like a 5-time multi-screwer upper. And she's running for a government position, folks. That's right. Because screwing things up at a higher level is what Democrats do. That's right. This is our government, folks. This is who wants to run our government. People like Ilhan Omar. And I have nothing against bartenders. I love bartenders. They make great drinks. I don't think bartenders make great decision makers in the political world. I'm talking about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm sure there's some super intelligent bartenders out there. I know there are. But when they say and do stupid things like AOC and the rest of the jihad squad and everyone out there who hates America, including this ridiculous stripper who has made terrible after terrible decisions, she thinks she's qualified. You know what she said? She said, well, there's a lot of strippers out there, and I'm paraphrasing. There's a lot of strippers out there, and they deserve representation in Congress too. So we have to have a stripper mentality in government in order for government to properly serve the people. So that's really what the government's role is to fully represent every screwball profession. Or is government supposed to protect and preserve our liberties, our rights, and ensure that our nation is properly defended? I think that's the goal. I don't think it was job diversity representation. But they're going to continue to push that kind of crap, folks. They're going to continue to push it. Like this stripper. Okay, great. She's she's a sex worker, right? When it comes to war, what does she know about war? I mean, how would she respond to this? Russia says it shot down a Ukrainian transport plane carrying Western arms. That happened after the Russian ship sank. They just fucking shot down a Ukraine transport plane. What's a stripper going to do about that, folks? Do you think the military, our troops, do you think they're going to appreciate? Do you think Marine Recon? Do you think the 101st or the 82nd Airborne? Do you think they're going to want to listen to what a stripper has to say? Right. You want someone who knows what they're talking about when it comes to military. You want somebody making decisions that understands our opponents. Not only, folks, the guns they have, the troops they have, the tanks they have. How about the positions they have? How about the history of the land? The history of the nation? Why things are happening over there? Instead of just showing up going, I brought donuts. What are we going to talk about today in Congress? That's not what it's about. There should be a very good understanding of who you are dealing with. And now, not everyone can be 100% good at everything. I understand that. How about just the ability to learn? Right? We're all supposed to have the ability to learn, right? To absorb information, to listen to a speech, to listen to an explanation from experts so that you can make a very intelligent, adequate decision to deal with a situation as a government official? Can we count on someone who can't even keep a job as a soccer coach? Can we count on somebody who blames her bad life decisions on climate change? You think she can listen to an expert and really come up with a great decision, or do you think she's just, wanting money and wanting someone to, buy her votes? Yeah, I've got my guesses, folks. I've got my guesses. I'm sure she'll do really well in the DC crowd. And unlike Madison Cawthorn, when someone asked her to participate in an orgy, she may have a different answer than Madison. I mean, this means a lot of this is really unbelievable, folks. Unfucking unbelievable. Why do we have people like this stripper thinking she can run for Congress? Because of what schools have been doing, folks. And it's getting turned around. We can fix this. It's being fixed. By prepping to action, right? You get prepared, but you also take action. You go to school board meetings. You vote. You talk to your representatives at the state, the local, and the federal level. The Florida Department of Education, folks, is doing its job. Down there in the great state of Florida, wow. They have rejected 54 different math textbooks, folks. 54 textbooks. Why? Why would they get rid of math textbooks? I mean, don't they teach, 2 + 2 is 4 math? What are they teaching, that 2 + 2 is 5 or no? The textbooks, they say, are attempting to indoctrinate students with critical race theory. So get this, in order to do that, the textbook writer, there's got to be people writing these textbooks and then printing the textbooks and then selling the textbooks, which means the CEO and the CIO and the CFO, all of these big shot board members are saying, we want critical race theory in the math textbooks. And they go so far as to go all the way through and create them. Well, thank God for Florida and other schools, folks, all around the country that are starting to reject this garbage, because it's indoctrination, right? If Jimmy has $5 and he wants 10, how many hours does he have to work at $5 an hour to make that 10? Well, the answer is it's Whitey's fault because of European culture. And so you go get free money with the government. I mean, I imagine there's something like that. You know, it's an insult to everybody. You know, if you're a person of color and you have $100, you know, it's just, why do they need race in a math textbook? It's insulting. It's absolutely insulting, but they don't care. They're pushing, folks. They're pushing for SHTF to get worse. They're pushing for people to hate each other. It's incredible, the school thing, right? Journalist Luke Rosiak wrote a piece on this, and I read it, and I was fairly impressed with it. He says there was a lack of attention in our schools that allowed special interests to take over, to write these books, to push these programs, to bring in this radical rainbow agenda and this radical racist agenda, right? But I thought, you know, is it a lack of attention, or it was trust and a belief that everyone wants freedom that Americans had, and that our trust was violated, and it was a critical error trusting schools. And the price tag is now visible, folks. Patriotic Americans, parents, were awake, fighting back and being fought against by radical communists, folks. You know, why are they fighting? This is our country. We're free, right? The rainbow sexuality and critical race theory, CRT, right? When explaining to America, right? Rosiak writes the same thing we've been discussing. It's incredible. It's just, where do we go, folks? They're saying that one of the most important concepts to understand is equity. Equity, folks, sounds similar to equality, but it isn't. It is the antithesis of freedom. It's government-directed outcome. It's evil. They're pushing equity in schools, right? But almost, and here's a quote from Rosiak, but almost every school district in the country is on record supporting equity. Equity is critical race theory, folks. Equity is Black Lives Matter. Equity is the rainbow program. And by rainbow, you know, I mean fruitcakes, right? Every school district in the country is on record supporting equity, and equity is a very bad thing. It means equal outcome by race. And folks, so it's a racially justified communist takeover of our schools, using indoctrination to make their goal palatable to everyone by introducing self-racial hatred and surrender. It's over with. We're onto it. We're awake. Get prepared. Go to thepreparedmind.club, right? Go to Patreon, sign up at the Prepared Mind, and then share these videos with others so they help. A lot of people are just waiting, folks. A lot of people are just waiting to hear it from their neighbors before they stand up for themselves. They don't want to be first. They don't want to be loud. They don't want to stand up and be the nail that sticks up above the rest and it's the first one to get hit, right? But there's so many of us now that know what's going on. And when you start talking, people are going to listen. They're going to agree with you. They may have some other ideas of their own they want to share. Great. Get people talking. We got Shelly Chavers checking in with a $5 super chat donation. And she writes, I had a dream last night that Russia bombed the United States and Europe. At the same time, Subconscious, probably, but scared the crap out of me. Well, that's, I'm sorry you had a bad dream and that was what it was. But those were the types of dreams that I had as a young boy in the 80s when Ronald Reagan was president, and the mainstream media back then was continuously trying to scare us and convince us that Reagan was going to start a nuclear war with the Soviet Union. And I used to have horrifyingly bad dreams, Absolutely incredible. And here we are today, folks, instead of evolving, becoming better, right? Our government has just gotten worse. The mainstream media is convincing us that we're going to have a nuclear war, or the possibility of it, with Russia, and then it'll be Russia's fault. Let's see. Who was threatening Russia? Well, NATO with the United States, right? Was Russia here in America or right up in Canada or down in Mexico threatening us to cause us to do that? No, they're way over there in Russia, right? It was the United States and NATO moving into Ukraine and saying they wanted to put military bases and missiles over there. The Russian people and the government and Putin, they're having nightmares about NATO on their front door. See, there's a big difference. If you said, if I said, Shelly, in the next town over from yours, there's people with guns. And, if you go mess with them, they'll kill you. You'd be like, okay, I get it. I'm not going over to that town. That's way over there. And I'm just going to not bother with them. It'd be a completely different story if I said, hey, Shelly, in your front yard, standing right now, there's people with guns pointed at your house. And at any moment, they could just start cracking off shots and there's nothing you could do about it, right? They could riddle your house full of bullets. There's a big difference between an enemy that's miles and miles and miles away, thousands of miles away, and someone who's right in your front yard aiming a gun at you. For Russia, that's what they had. They aren't thinking about the United States that's over across Europe and that's over across the Atlantic and that's over right inside of the continental North American system. They're worried about what is on their front door and their front yard, Ukraine. And NATO and the United States was saying, we're going to bring in a lot of guns, a lot of troops, bases, and we're going to put nuclear missiles right in your front yard. That's why Putin is so pissed off and upset and why they invaded Ukraine. Because he was told that was not going to happen, that NATO wouldn't be pushing for that. And that's exactly what they did. And that's exactly why Putin said no more. It's a scary world, folks. It's a very, very scary world when it comes down to it. We got John Swanson checking in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, I also had a dream of tan MRAPs running our street. Woke up chilled, maybe a martial law event. You see, I'm going to just say this, John. Our subconscious is now has a proliferation of SHTF events that we go through and we think of. Nuclear war, being bombed by other countries, China, Russia, food shortages, starving, right? How about cannibalism? How about zombies? How about food shortages and fuel shortages? How about our own government turning on us, right? And our streets locked down under martial law because of a pandemic or because of lawlessness and gangs run amok. The same way in 2020, the summer of love, all those mostly peaceful, not really BLM and Antifa types that were in major cities across the country, terrorizing the people, going down residential streets and shouting at them with bullhorns, give us food, let us sleep here. We're doing, we're here to protect you. Yeah, right. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. And so it's affecting us. It's in our psyche. It's bothering us on a very personal, a very emotional level. Try not to let it do that to you. Be prepared. And see, this is where I think we have an advantage. if you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, if you have that plan, you are better equipped to deal with situations that arise. I mean, if you hear, oh my God, they shut down the gasoline delivery system. There's another cyber attack on the pipeline. Hey, you've got alternate transportation. You know how to deal with things. You have an e-bike or a regular bike. Right? You've got a friend you can carpool with. Or if you have a garage, you may have fuel cans stored in your garage. You would be intelligent enough to go, hey, right, I see something's going on. I'm going to go fill my gas tank up now, and I'm going to make sure I have a full tank of gas. Right, being smart about it. And if you go, oh my gosh, yeah, we're hearing that there's a very bad harvest of corn that's coming. So you buy a significant amount of corn, corn meal or dried corn or wheat or rice, whatever it is, folks. Being smart, being prepared ahead of time will help you not worry about those things because you've got your preps. You just need to worry about what's happening. So you can focus not on your next meal, but on the problem. Right? Protecting your family. Right? They're gonna be fed, they're gonna be sheltered. You've got medicine, you're good. You know, these are why we talk about these things, folks, so we can see what's coming and get a good idea. And it can be very disturbing. I think it was Tamika said a couple of months ago, you know, that not everyone is former military. Not everyone is good with weapons and self-defense. And so it's very frightening for them. You know, so my thing is it's best, if you're not familiar with weapons, to take a self-defense course. Learn how to use weapons. A lot of them are very simple to use. They make a lot of noise, right? But that's all part of the process. Or if you can't do it yourself, find someone who can help you with that, with self-defense, right? And you work out an arrangement. I take care of you, you take care of us. We all work together. We all have a part to play in this, folks. But if you're scared, if you're afraid, in order to overcome that fear, right, you just have to be prepared, the best prepared you can be. I'll tell you what, you can prepare for combat. You can serve in the military, but when someone's shooting at you, right, now you realize, well, you know, I'm not going to know it until after I'm hit, right? It's very scary. You don't go into any dangerous situation in life thinking you're bulletproof, you know. It's not. Everyone gets scared, folks. Everyone. And after the fact, a lot of veterans have PTSD, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's hard to deal with very traumatic situations. Once again, an understanding of what you're dealing with, being prepared ahead of time, right? Being prepared while bad things are happening makes everything somewhat easier for children, especially. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, have candy around. Tootsie Rolls, little chocolate bars that help them, right, feel good about stuff. Taste good, take their mind off of things, help them relax. We all need what we need, folks. Right? So get prepared. Okay, moving along, if we shall. Some crazy stuff, folks. Down on our southern border. Uh-oh, we got Cottage Farm. Oh my gosh, Cottage Farm with a $200 super chat donation. Oh my God. She says, God bless the Prepared Mind family. Get prepared. Catch me by speechless. Thank you, Cottage Farm. That takes a lot of pressure off of everything we've been doing. Thank you so much. Folks, get prepared. The preparedmind.club is your store. This is a great community we have for sharing ideas, getting prepared. Speechless. Thank you again, Cottage Farm. And we all need all the blessings we can get, you know, and one of the things my mother used to say all the time when I was a kid, when I wanted stuff. In fact, I spoke with her on Easter Sunday, and love my mother. Nice lady. Turned 74. Anyways, Mom used to say, God helps those who help themselves. And I thought, okay, I see how this works. You know, and it's you look to yourself, right? God helps those who help themselves. We've been given great skills, bodies, brains, the ability to plan, to take action on our own behalf. I think that's what she meant. You know, God blessed us with intelligence and with able bodies and health. So do all you can to prepare for yourself so that you can take action, right? So that you can help yourselves. I guess Mom, in a way, was a prepper mom, and yeah, she was she was great. She still is great, and she got all her marbles in her head, and is a funny, nice lady. And I love you, Mom, and thank you, Cottage Farm, very much. You are incredible. And then moving on, folks, down to the southern border. Thank you again. Southern border. The bad guys, folks, are going to help themselves as well. Mexican drug cartels have launched over 9,000 different drone incursions into U.S. airspace. Now, they don't have stealth drones. They don't have Raptors that have missiles and cameras and systems on them that can see, you know, hundreds of miles. They don't have those kind of drones, folks. They have commercial drones, though, and they're using these drones. They'll get them way up in the air, and they're watching where law enforcement and border patrol are at, right? This demonstrates, folks, how technology always helps and ends up helping both sides in any conflict. Our southern border, folks, they're using drones to find out where our law enforcement is at and then to deliver drugs into our country now. The greater the range of these drones, the more they can fly them in. And the drone, folks, has such a small radar print that it probably looks like a mosquito. They can't see them, right? And then drugs, right? A little bag of drugs is what, $1,000 or $10,000, depending on the drug, $100,000. So it's very condensed value as far as dollar value, these illegal drugs, fentanyl, cocaine, opium, you know, heroin. So because it's condensed, folks, these drones can carry an incredible amount of dollar value over the border and land them with their people. Right? Drone delivery is safe, it's effective, right? They got great cost savings and less loss to border agents. And I've seen some great articles lately of the border agents catching all these drugs and drug dealers trying to come across the border, but they're now using drones. They're now using drones, and I think that drones are going to be an excellent tool in SHTF Mad Max situations. Again, I'll say they work both ways, right? If you launch a drone, someone may be near enough to see where it came from and know that, you know, you've got some good resources on your side. At the same time, getting a drone up in the air with a decent camera on it will help you see your area and see if you're being, surveilled and stalked. Drones are, folks, another tool in the world of prepping and self-defense and community defense. And I'm waiting for it to happen, folks. I'm waiting for drones that go attack other drones. I'm waiting for it. Absolutely waiting for it. We've gone past 90 minutes, folks, into our 2-hour Monday Night Live. And we're going to start right here with Opie Waddell with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, Uncle Bick. Uncle Bick. That would be Joe Biden. Gigi, Joe Biden is green screen on all footage. Look closely. All channels. 8K and 4K, 1080p, 720. It's all green screen. This has been an interesting complaint or maybe if it's not a complaint, it's at least an observation that green screen technology is being used to show us the president of the United States. He's either on a manufactured set, and I don't know where this set is, that looks like the White House, or he's in a green screen setting, right? So there would be like a big green sheet behind him, and they project with the computer graphics or pictures into it. That may be for, I don't know, maybe an internet entertainer, but it shouldn't be for the president of the United States. You would think that they need to be real. So, a lot of questions come up. Why does President Joe Biden need to be in a fake White House? Why not the real White House? What's wrong with the real White House? What's wrong with Joe Biden? Why do they need a green screen when he's the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, with all of the financial assets needed for his administration to run the country as smoothly as possible? Are they hiding him from the aliens so they don't abduct him? Are they hiding him so the Russians can't target him with nuclear weapons? I mean, it's not like he's a prepper and he's hiding from Antifa or something, there's nothing bad like that. So why? I mean, that's my big question, is why? Is he in Delaware? I've gotten some great pictures of all the different Joe Bidens that are out there, and maybe that's why. And I want to say thank you to Recycling Paul out there for sending me those pictures. All these different Joe Bidens, maybe they need green screen sets because they may have a Joe Biden in New York. They may have one in Delaware. They may have one in D.C. Maybe they have one in Atlanta, in Chicago. Now, wherever there's media or press, how do we know they're actually in the same room? Maybe they're sitting in a room, say in D.C., the Washington Press Corps, and they're watching the president, Joe Biden, the president, it could be any one of his body doubles up there, talking, and then he says, you over there, I'm supposed to be asking Fred Smith. And Fred Smith's like, oh, he picked me, and he asked a question of the green screen because, if we can do Zoom calls with family and businesses, the president can do it with the press corps from anywhere in the world. But why? Is it because they need a different Biden all the time? Why are they, this is a big question. I think it'll be answered at some time in the future. Let's keep an eye on this one. And thank you, Opie Waddell, for all that you do on the Prepared Mind Network, another longtime listener and contributor. Many of you are, folks. And it is your careful and methodical approach to taking discussion in the comment section that makes this an exciting and beneficial place to think, learn, talk, and share about prepping, about patriotism, about everything. We got John Swanson back with a $5 super chat donation. And he said he's scared of the Easter Bunny this weekend. Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah, Joe Biden this weekend, he just wanders so much. Now he's a doddering Easter fool. He was going to go over and talk to a bunch of children, surprise there. Joe Biden and children. Yeah, that we need more of that going on. Anyways, the Easter Bunny intercepts the president and then sets him on the right path. And then the media folks, wanted to talk with Joe Biden. Which one? I don't know. Probably the real one, though, since he's completely off his rocker. The Easter Bunny protects the president from the press. What a fantastic country we have, folks, when one of the most incapable human beings, period, not incapable of running the country properly, but incapable of being a living human being, self-sufficient. That's our president. What does that tell you is going on, folks? It is incredible. We're in big, big, big trouble. And folks, how about this? 1 second. Luke, this is your dad, buddy. I'm on live right now.
Oh shoot! I thought you were over.
No, I'm still going, good buddy. I'll call you afterwards, okay?
All right, love you.
Okay, love you too,
Enjoy.
buddy. Bye.
Bye.
That'd be Lucas. Okay, we'll continue here. There's a lot going on. We're in big trouble. And there is now a Robin Hood mentality, folks. And it's emerging on the streets. Except this isn't the Robin Hood that you might be thinking of. Right? The Robin Hood you think of steals from the government and returns the money to the poor from which it was stolen, right? A lot of people go, the Robin Hood steals from the rich. No, he's always stealing from Prince John and Sheriff of Nottingham. Anyways, there's this Robin Hood mentality, folks, is, well, gangs of thieves around the country are now starting to prey on the rich, the wealthy. They've realized, hey, that guy that has that nice car and that nice house, they have nice stuff. We're going to start robbing them. Okay, I say expect two things. Number one, the rich will be robbed and assaulted much, much more frequently from this point forward. My second point, number two, the rich will defend themselves and kill thieves much, much more frequently than they have in the past. They're going to have to, because this we're going to rob you rich people mentality, folks, is going to be met. It has to be met, either by the rich people or their security staff. And I want to point to one of our favorites, the cul-de-sac commando, the McClotskys from St. Louis, who had BLM break through a gate into a private community and stand in the driveway. It wasn't the street because it's all private driveways in this private community. Stand in the driveway and threaten to burn their house, to kill their animals, to do great bodily harm, injury, and maybe even death to the McClotskys, who defended themselves not by firing, but by standing, that is, bearing arms. We have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And they did. And they kept the thieves and the would-be murderers and would-be arsonists at bay, only to be prosecuted by a communist government official. And I believe they were pardoned by the governor of the state. This is the state of affairs that we live in, though, folks. It's horrifying. And if people think, hey, we're going to rob the rich, and if the rich start shooting back, they may be like, hey, those rich people got guns. Let's go rob the middle class. In other words, folks, they're going to rob whoever is convenient. All right, we got Crazy Uncle with a $5 super chat donation, and he says, prepper tip. I love Crazy Uncle's prepper tips. Mr. Skylight always has fantastic patriot quotes. I love all the regular stuff. And now we got Crazy Uncle with his prepper tip. He says the price of animal feed has gone up about 20% already. Make sure you top off supplies for them too. Well, very true. For those of us with pets, cats and dogs, make sure you have adequate food to feed them. Some dogs, they get a good helping of table scraps, but, they need their food. And then livestock. Chickens, goats, sheep, cows, whatever your livestock is, ducks, rabbits, make sure you've got chow for them. Now, he says that their price has gone up 20% on animal feed. Now, that doesn't sound like it's too bad, right? Human food's gone up 50%. Well, animal feed needs far less processing, right? They take raw corn and they dry it, and they could, mill it a little, but that's it. Human food, it's cooked and they add spices and put some meat and some vegetables, put it in a fancy can, put a label on it, right? Our food is much more complicated. And so there's a lot more inflation that'll go into it. So even the most basic animal food, folks, it's not going to go up as much percentage-wise, but it's going to grow up. It's going to go up. It will double. It's going to get there. And you can't go without it. Dogs, cats, domestic pets, yeah, but your livestock too. And I think a lot of people don't really put a lot of thought into what it takes to feed, your barnyard animals. Chickens, there's no free eggs with chickens. You got to feed those chickens. You got to take care of them. And we're also going to have problems. So again, these thieves, they're going to figure out they've got to go to where the food is, and they're going to head out to these little mom and pop farms. So please be prepared to defend yourselves. That was the whole point behind the Robin Hood article. And thank you, Crazy Uncle, for that great super chat donation. Earlier, Elon Musk's name came up. Before I do that, though, we got Crazy Uncle with another $5 super chat and a prepper tip number 2. He says, if you are forced to rely on your prep food, make sure you have some spices, hot sauce too. Oh, and freeze-dried ice cream for the kids. That's a great recommendation. Freeze-dried ice cream. But I've talked about this frequently. Spices, right? Rice can taste Mexican rice, Spanish rice. It can be Asian rice. It can be Southeast Asian rice. It can be plain old rice. Right? You can make rice taste 10 different ways. Mustard, ketchup, barbecue sauce, right? So you need condiments. You need spices. It is going to be critical. Great prepper tip. Thank you, Crazy Uncle. Now, this is absolutely incredible. MSNBC, they did a great segment, and it was none other than Morning Joe Jackass, who came on and said, it's our job to control how people think, not Elon Musk's. And this is absolutely incredible, folks. While I'm sitting here talking to you, doing the zoo, we're discussing Prepper Chow. And the webpage that popped up with the Elon Musk commercial has My Patriot Supply food being advertised in the left column, in the right column. Apparently, my computer's listening to me. Apparently, my computer is listening to me and making sure the appropriate advertisements are here. Wow, very good. And we do have folks at the preparedmind.club, My Patriot Supply, and their Armageddon chow. Right? Whole egg powder, butter powder, potato cheddar soup, pre-made meals. This is great. It's like, hey, this looks like my pantry. Thank you. Anyways, back to the story. MSNBC and Joe Jackass. It's unbelievable that this is what they say. This is what they think, folks. Micah Brzezinski and Joe say, quote, the dangerous edges here are that he, meaning Elon Musk, he is trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsen, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job, Joe Scarborough chided, right? And that is our job, to control what people think. Unbelievable, folks, that this is, they're just coming out and saying it now. They're not even trying to hide it. They can't hide it. They see no reason to hide it. They don't want Elon Musk talking. They're afraid of him. And what gets me is I think that Elon Musk is basically politically neutral when it comes to Democrat or Republican. And I guess he would be, because he can just, he can buy anybody, I guess. It's just, here's what Brzezinski said. Joe Scarborough's little partner there. He, meaning Musk, he does not believe in the consequences of words. Elon Musk's attempt to buy Twitter represents a chilling new threat. Billionaire trolls taking over social media. Social media and mainstream media is owned by billionaires already. Now, the part that gets me is he does not believe in the consequences of words. I'll tell you what, folks. Words have consequences. They make people think. It's incredible. Words don't make things happen. any more than a fork makes you fat. That fork has consequences if you use it the wrong way. If you use someone else's words the wrong way, yeah, like, we need to invade Ukraine and use the military. And here, how about this? How about words that have consequences? Russia's committing genocide, right, Joe Biden? How about that? For little people like me and you, words really don't have much of a consequence. No one really wants to hear them, right? Just because Elon Musk is a billionaire, I guess people do want to hear what he has to say. But should he fear the consequences of having words spoken? No. Why? Because I'm not afraid of what someone else is going to do with my words. They should be able to think for themselves, make a decent decision on their own behalf. Unbelievable, folks. This is where they're taking us. This is where they're taking us. The hell in a handbasket, as my mom used to say. Dear old mom. Now, if you want to see something that has consequences. We got Opie Waddell. He'll check in. We'll take care of Opie here. He says, stop fuxing around. Get a freeze dryer today at the club. Freeze dry most anything. Stop fuxing around. Price is the same as 2019. Oil-free, no maintenance pump. Thank you, Opie, for plugging the Harvest Right food dryer that we have at the preparedmind.club. C-L-U-B, the preparedmind.club. Had a lot of people buy them. They really like them, folks. They get the job done. Take your food, dry it, prepare it, preserve it. You're good. It's your own prepper chow you made yourself. If you don't want to do that, don't have time, of course, you can just go to the preparedmind.club and buy pre-made prepper chow. Anyways, I want to get back to consequences. Thank you, Opie Waddell. You're the man. Now, Moscow has warned the United States government. He's warned the United States government, not me and you. Moscow doesn't warn us. There's no need to. There's no need to warn the people. They're warning the government in a diplomatic letter. And they wrote, arming Ukraine will result in, quote, unpredictable consequences. So this Russian note was sent to the State Department by the Russian embassy in Washington. It said the U.S. and its NATO allies were ignoring rigorous principles on the transfer of weapons into a conflict zone, and said the Western powers are oblivious to the, quote, the threat of high-precision weapons falling into the hands of radical nationalists, extremists, and bandit forces in Ukraine. They weren't saying, hey, unpredictable consequences and Russians will die. They're talking about radical nationalists. That would be the Ukraine Nazis that committed atrocities that Zelensky did not deny in a media interview. Other people there, extremists and bandit forces. That's right. Zelensky freed prisoners, folks, thieves, rapists, murderers, bandits. Even armed them and said, hey, go fight the Russians. And they're like, no, we're just going to go start robbing people. But transferring high-tech weapons into a country that is not well controlled. It's in a state of war. Not real smart. Then the Russians accused NATO of pressuring Ukraine to abandon peace talks with Moscow, right? Saying that's just going to continue the bloodshed, right? The U.S. and most of its NATO allies have shown little interest in supporting the negotiations, folks, and instead have encouraged Ukraine, Zelensky, to keep fighting. And it's not costing the United States or England or France or Germany any lives. Right. The Washington Post reported that for some NATO members, quote, it's better for the Ukrainians to keep fighting and dying than to achieve a peace that comes too early or at too high a cost to Kiev and the rest of Europe. Talk about words having consequences, right? It's better for Ukrainians to keep fighting and dying because it's too early to give up. Really? And it's too high a cost to give up? Wow. Well, the high cost comes to Kiev and the rest of Europe. What about the people? I thought we were supposed to give a shit about the people of Ukraine. Folks, if they have this attitude about their own people in Ukraine and their own people in Europe, would you suspect that the United States government has that attitude about us? that it's better for Americans to fight and die than to achieve a peaceable end. Right? That's why they wanted BLM and Antifa and protesters to keep doing what they did in 2020. Right? It was better for them to keep fighting the police and assaulting people and committing arson and looting. Right? It's better for them to do that than to put up with, right, the too high a cost of a Trump presidency. It's the same mentality at play. It's okay for us to suffer. It's okay for the Ukrainian people to suffer as long as they get what they want. Unfreaking believable. The formal Russian protest in this diplomatic letter said the U.S. arming Ukraine could be a precursor to Russia launching airstrikes on weapons shipments in Ukraine. And we know that now they are sending missiles, cruise missiles, guided missiles further into Ukraine over the top of the front lines, and they're taking out targets. They're taking out supply lines. And sadly, the supply lines are also helping Ukrainians if they've got food in them. But the Russians, in order to make this war end as quickly as possible, need Zelensky to come to the peace talks and to surrender and then come to peace terms instead of coming to a peace talk and making demands. It's unbelievable, folks. These people all are from Planet Bizarro, and they're running our planet now. So you've got to be prepared. I want to thank everyone. Well, Crazy Uncle's back. Shoot. I'm going to thank Crazy Uncle, and especially the big surprise today was Cottage Farm catching me off guard. But Crazy Uncle says, with a $10 super chat donation, he says, prepper tip number 3. He says, I hear people think protein powder is a good prep. Sort of. Though it is high calorie and easy to make, remember that plastic is not an oxygen barrier. Coffee comes in cans, powder doesn't. Protein powder is, it's a good prep. What I would call it is a supplement. If you've got a lot of rice and beans and you need more protein in the diet, meat protein, right? Most canned powdered proteins are whey protein. It's not meat. So it's a great supplement, but I wouldn't call it an adequate substitute for real meat proteins. I mean, vegetables have protein. Everything has a little bit of protein, but we are omnivores and we need meat and vegetables. So get a well-balanced diet built into your preps. Like I said, I really like cans of tuna fish. You can get canned meats. You can get canned beef, corned beef hash. You can get a lot of really good canned products that'll last years and years, and you can consume them and then replace them. Right? As you consume them, you replace them. And that'll keep you well fed in an emergency situation. Crazy Uncle, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your time, your intelligence, your care for everyone else on the network, helping them see what's going on. I appreciate your financial support here. And I appreciate the fact that so many of you have gone to the preparedmind.club. That's the store that Jolene and I have set up. But Jolene really takes good care of it and makes sure it stays current and that it has links to food, water, right? Shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, everything, right? Communications gear. And once again, I keep my radio at hand. We've got communications, everything you need, folks, to get prepared. We try and have at the preparedmind.club, even body armor, right? To protect you in the event of a crisis. And crisis is what prepping is all about, because crisis, folks, is the world we're going to be living in, right? Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Thank you again, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be here all week long. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Godspeed, Semper Fi.